Hello, everyone. Today, it's an interesting topic and it's based on popular demand. A few weeks ago, I made a video on wealth and dhan yogas and the planet that gives wealth, the houses that are associated to wealth. And a number of people requested, since that time that if I can make a video on certain conditions wherein there is no dhan yoga in a chart or there are lack of wealth giving combinations that people feel in the chart, what to do in that case, and some simple remedies. So I'll keep this video very simple, brief, to the point, and also suggest some very simple remedies in life that each ascendant can do in terms of supporting wealth related aspects of life, because in today's world and environment it is quite important for most individuals. I mean, 70% of the consultations that I receive are mostly around wealth and its related support. So firstly, let's talk about the basics. Wealth or dhan yogas come from certain houses. These houses are the second house, fifth house, ninth house, and the 11th house. Second house is the primary factor here because that is the house of wealth. That is the dhan sthan, and second lord is also known as Dhanesha, or the wealth giving planet. So this is the most important house in the chart and its lord. So about 60 to 70% of what I'm going to share with you, the remedies come from the second house and its lord. Then we have the fifth house, which is the house of future, ninth house, which is the house of fortune, and 11th house, which is the house of gains. It is the Labasthan. So these houses matter in terms of giving wealth. Now, in terms of the divisional chart, the Hora chart is most important when it comes to wealth, and I'll give you very simple examples here as well. So, what do we need to do if we have a situation or a chart wherein we feel that there's no Dhan Yoga, or any of these houses, second, fifth, ninth, and 11th, are severely afflicted, are under a malefic influence, or their lords are badly placed and under some Papkartari yoga, or placed in negative houses, or under the influence of malefics in aspect or conjunction. So what do we need to do in these cases? So firstly, we need to know what these sort of grahas are, and um, very simply, we'll start with the second house and its lord first, because that's where the primary focus needs to be. That's where we need to focus on. Now, second house is also the house of food, what we consume, what we take in. So that becomes very important. So one of the simple remedy that you can have is consuming food items related to your second lord. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time in terms of taking you through, the food items that are related to various grahas. Of course, I'll take some examples. But let's say that if you're Aries ascendant, then the second lord becomes Venus, because the second house there is the house of Taurus that is ruled by Venus. Now, you can look up to the internet and find out food items related to Venus, and similarly for other grahas as well. But some of the things that I can share with you is that lemon is associated to Venus. So, and anything that is sour, let's say lemon and yogurt. So these are some foods which are associated to Venus. So it is advisable to strengthen it, to consume this first thing in the morning, after bath. So it could be taking some lemon and water, or it could be taking a spoon of yogurt, or perhaps increasing its consumption or usage in your sort of daily routine. If let's say you're Taurus ascendant, so the second house there becomes Gemini. Its ruler is Mercury. Mercury is associated to leafy vegetables, green vegetables. It's also you can also consider green pistachios. I mean, that's a again a great remedy to take it first thing in the morning. Just a few pieces of green pistachio, or sprouts, green sprouts, the green dal or pulses or gram that you have. So making it into sprouts, so that's something which you can take first thing in the morning, even if it's a little bit of consumption. That works very well. If you're a Gemini ascendant, for example, then the second house is ruled by Moon, the sign of Cancer, and moon is associated to rice, so that is the consumption that one needs to increase. Milk is also associated to moon, and that is, it is also advisable that you take that first thing in the morning. If your second house is, let's say for example, either Sagittarius or Pisces, its ruler becomes Jupiter, and Jupiter is associated to one, sweet things, and second is desi ghee. Okay, butter, ghee, pure. That's something which you must consume. But then you can be mindful of the quantity as well. So quantify certain things there. I mean, a few grams of desi ghee every day does no harm. I mean, it's essential for consumption. So maybe switch that instead of other oils that you use for food. If let's say you're a Cancer ascendant and the second Lord becomes Sun or Surya. Wheat is associated to sun, and such people should sort of increase the consumption of wheat than other things in their food. And of course, you can research on other things and items as well. And similarly, if it's ruled by Mars, if let's say your second house is either Aries or Scorpio, then Mars becomes the ruler. Red gram, red chilies, watermelon, any kind of fruit that is red. So that's something which you can consume or use in your daily diet and sort of increase that or start taking it first thing in the morning. So that is something you can research. There are a number of food items, even there are food items related to the lunar nodes, Rahu and Ketu, right? So you can search that. So just to give you one example, for Rahu, thyme, which is very much related to Rahu, and even hing is also associated to Rahu. So that's something which you can consume on a daily basis. It's good for the stomach as well. Okay, um, so that's with the second house or Lord. One of the things that people must avoid is having any kinds of donations related to the second house or its lord. So, for example, if the second lord is sun, avoid any kind of donations related to that graha, which is wheat and other things. Um, I'll talk about what you should donate or what you should give up. So there are two things here. One is what you should consume. The other is what you should give away, okay, or donate, or perhaps take control on. And that is seen from the 11th house and its lord. And that is where, if you are suffering in terms of wealth related matters, and if you are unable to accumulate wealth or save money, so this is where you need to put focus on. Now, why giving away? You would say that 11th house is the house of gains, so why give away? um, I mean, 11th house is also one of the most malefic houses in the chart. Okay, and its lord could be, a potent malefic in most cases, right? Any graha that is placed there would give great results, but its lord could be the most malefic, and that is where you should give away things related to the 11th house or its lord. So, for example, if Moon is lording your 11th house there, so you should be donating rice to the needy. If let's say it is Jupiter, so you should be distributing sweets to children, to others. Okay, you should be distributing ghee. Okay, if it is Saturn, then you should be donating black dal and also mustard oil. All the things related to Saturn. If it is Venus, you should be donating some white cloth. Okay, so that's there. Reason being that 11th Lord could be a potent malefic for most ascendants. The other simple remedy that can be there in terms of giving up is fasting on the day of the 11th Lord. All right, so Sunday through Saturday. Each graha has a day lordship. Okay, so it's Sunday through Saturday. It is Sun, Moon, Mars, Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, and Saturn. So that is the kind of fast that you can keep. It's also a good way of detox, right? One of the simple fasts that is there is sort of keep yourself on liquids and fruit through the day, and consume salt only once after the sunset in just one meal that you will take through the day. Okay, so that's the most simple fast that I can advise people. Now, this is about the second house and the 11th house. Some of the very simple remedies which everyone can do. Okay, the other two houses to watch out for are the fifth house. Fifth house is the house of future, it's the house of children, and it plays a very important role when it comes to wealth. Fifth house is also the house of mantra. So that is where, in order to strengthen it, in order to work on it, there are mantras that can be suggested. However, I cannot, really give you a generic or a specific mantra here. Uh, but then one common mantra, because wealth, I mean, uh, Lakshmi is the significator or sort of giver of wealth, but then wealth comes from Vishnu. Why? Because Lakshmi has so much affection, so much of respect, so much of love for Vishnu. Okay, so Om Vishnave Namah. So that is one of the most common mantra that you can use if you have any wealth related issues. Otherwise, a chart needs to be understood whether a mantra would really work for an individual, whether they would do a mantra, whether they would be dedicated or committed to a mantra. That needs to be, read through the chart itself, and that is how it can be recommended. Now, the other house that we need to watch out for is the ninth house, which is the house of higher learning, which is the house of fortune, the house of dharma, the house of bhagya. And I mean, bhagya plays or fortune plays a very important role in life when it comes to wealth. And how we can strengthen this house is by practicing things, by helping others related to all the ninth house matters, right? So, in terms of sharing knowledge, learning, so ninth house and its lord are very important because it's the house of fortune, it's the house of bhagya. So if all the other three houses, if you or its lord, you think they're not working, then just focus on the ninth house and its lord. It holds a great importance, in our life. So the remedies associated to strengthening the ninth lord, and strengthening is by embracing things related to the ninth lord, by embracing and consuming foods related to the ninth house, and not by giving up or giving it away. So please be mindful of it. So that's one of the simple ways how you can do it. Okay. Now, one important factor which rarely people talk about, and I'm going to keep it very simple, is that there are two other houses that you can look at. But how I have come to a conclusion is that when it comes to growth for any house, so for example, growth of yourself, which is the first house, the lagna, we call certain houses as upachaya. Upachaya means growth, how you would grow. So that is the third house, sixth house, 10th house, and the 11th house. So from the concept of Bhavat Bhavam, three, the third, sixth, 10th, and 11th houses from, let's say, the second house. So these are the houses which will support the growth of the second house. Okay. So what are these houses for the second house? It is the fourth house, it is the seventh house, it is the 11th house, and it is the 12th house, which are supportive in terms of how the second house or its lord will grow. So that holds great importance here. Okay. Similarly, for the 11th house, if you would look at 3, 6, 10, 11 from the 11th house, so it becomes the first house, the fourth house, eighth house, and the ninth house. Okay. Then if you look at the fifth house, what becomes 3, 6, 10, 11 from the fifth house? It is the seventh house, it is the 10th house, okay, it is the second house, and it is the third house. Okay. Then you come to the ninth house. So what is 3, 6, 10, 11 from the ninth house? It is the 11th house, it is the second house, it is the sixth house, and it is the seventh house. That becomes 3, 6, 10, 11 from the ninth house. So two houses amongst all these combinations are sort of repeating more than once. Uh, and I'm not including second house and 11th house here because they're equally important. So here we see that fourth house plays an important role, and also the seventh house that plays a very important role because I mean from the Bhavat Bhavam concept, it plays an important role in growth of three of these houses out of four. Okay, so I'll pay very close attention to the seventh house, the planets that are placed there, or the graha which rules the seventh house. So embracing things related to it, qualities related to it, or matters related to this house or the Lord or the grahas that are placed here are utmost important to support you in terms of wealth. This is the space where you are likely to get support from other people because seventh house is the outside world. It is the opposite from you. There is also the house of spouse. Okay, and it plays a very important role in our lives. That is where partnerships come from. That is where business is seen from. So strengthening the seventh lord, um, this house itself. So a remedy related to the seventh house or the lord is quite important when it comes to supporting uh, any matters related to wealth. Okay. Now next up, which is the last bit I want to spend time on, is other simple things that matters. So the second house matters, and I've already shared that you must consume food items related to your second lord. Okay. Um, Now for this particular point, I also want to share that the Hora chart, which is the D2 chart, matters a lot. A few weeks ago, I did a one, I think 1.5 hour session on the Hora chart. I tried keeping very simple. That video is available on my channel. Um, but you need to pay a careful attention on your second lord and which hora it is placed in, whether moon's hora, Cancer, or sun's hora, Leo. So moon's hora is the night hora, sun's hora is the day hora. So day strong planets, night strong planets. I mean, I can share it now, but then I've done a very detailed video on it, which I'll advise you to watch. Day strong planets are Jupiter, Venus, Sun. Uh, Night strong planets are Moon, Mars, Saturn. Mercury can be either strong in the day or night. There are some terms associated to it. But then, if your second lord is placed in a favorable hora, that will always support wealth. If it is not placed in a favorable hora, then it is going to cause obstruction. And that is where you need to strengthen by consuming food items related to this lord. Okay. The other remedy, which is very simple, because each grahas are associated to certain colors. Okay. Now, one such important piece wherein you keep your money, you keep your cards, are in a wallet or a purse or a wallet, and its color. I mean, it's one of the simplest things that you can do, but it matters a lot. So let's say if your 11th house is ruled by Mars or Mangala. Okay, let's say you're Gemini ascendant and Mars rules the 11th house, sign of Aries, then it is advisable that you keep a red color wallet. If your 11th lord, let's say, is Jupiter, then it is advisable that you keep a yellow color wallet. If it is Moon or Venus, then white works quite well. If it is Mercury, then it's green. I mean, Saturn, black. Um, for sun, it could be orange or red. So these are certain colors which you can try and have a wallet for that color. So again, a very simple remedy. I like to keep things very simple, and I hope you like this video and are taking some good takeaways. So very soon I'll come up with some more interesting topics and keep things very simple. In case you wish to book a consultation, check out the link below in the comment section, and the link to my website, my blogs. Feel free to reach out and have a good day. Thank you very much. Bye bye.